Well, hello, and welcome back to Speaking Spurs with me, Kieran, giving you all your updates on Tottenham Hotspur. So, what I'm going to do today is do two videos just to keep them a bit shorter because not everybody might be interested in both videos. So, the first one we're going to do is talking about the coaching update, and then the second video I'm going to talk about all the transfer links because, as you can imagine, now we've got a manager in place, we are linked with the world and its mate. So, we're going to go through those. So what we'll do, yes, I'm going to start with the coaching update, and the second video will be about the other stuff. So if you want to hear about all the coaching stuff, stick around for this video. If you are new to the channel, welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and support as much as you can. You can even support it with a like and turn on the bell notifications so you get notified when the next video goes live. So let's jump straight into it and talk about this. Obviously, we know from the last video and all the news that we have appointed Nuno Espirito Santo as our manager. And if you haven't done so, I urge you to go onto the Tottenham Hotspur official YouTube channel, or I think there's links on the website as well, just to watch the video from when Nuno came in and did his first interview. He came across really well, said a lot of the right things, seemed quite passionate. And also there was an interview with Fabio Paratici, just talking about why they've appointed Nuno and things like that. So I urge you after this, go and have a little watch of those and let me know in the comments what you think. But this has meant, obviously, new manager comes a bit of a shake-up within staff. So the assistant head coach is Ian Cathro. So he's Scottish, 34 years old, which sounds quite young, but he's got a wealth of experience. So he was born in Dundee. He has worked professionally in Scotland, England, Portugal, and Spain. At school, he launched his own coaching program, which produced young talents Ryan Gould and John Sauter. If somebody knows how to pronounce that, let me know in the comments below. So in his early 20s, he actually run up quite a bit of debt on his credit cards because he kept nipping over to Porto, and he was watching Andre Villas-Boas when he was in charge of Porto, just seeing how he worked on the training pitches to help with his own development. He actually met Nuno Espirito Santo when they were studying for their coaching qualifications with the Scottish FA. They got on quite well, shared a lot of ideas, and then when it became evident that Nuno was going to go into professional management, he teamed up with Ian, actually had him as his assistant at Rio Ave. He also went to Spain with him to work at Valencia. And then Ian decided to have a little break away from that. He came back to England and he actually worked alongside Steve McLaren and then Rafa Benitez at Newcastle. He then became head coach at Heart of Midlothian, which didn't actually go very well at all, but at the end of the day, it's a learning experience, a learning curve. We've seen many, many people like Frank Lampard. It wasn't amazing at Chelsea. Scotty Parker, he done okay, but struggled in the Premier League. So, it's a learning curve for a lot of people, these first jobs. They have to take the rough with the smooth. So, didn't work out too well for him, but no doubt made him a better manager for the future. He, after that, took a year out, and then he went back to Nuno to work with him at Wolves in the Championship and then the Premier League. And look, they had a very good relationship, and I think the reason why he decided to go back to Nuno was because of that relationship and the staff that were there. He's had a lot of staff, Nuno, that have stuck with him for the majority of his journey in management. So, went back, had success with Wolves, obviously got promoted from the Championship to the Premier League, 2 7th place finishes on the bounce. Obviously, the last season wasn't as good, but we know the reasons why. We've been through that in previous videos. So, more about him. He has a very good reputation for working with young players and helping them develop. He is innovative, and he's even been labelled a genius by Nuno. And they both speak very highly of one another. There's a lot of stuff that you can find from when they spent their time together at Wolves, where Ian talks about his relationship with Nuno. So go check that stuff out if you want to as well. Now, a quote from him, which I actually quite liked, is an interesting quote. Having the ball, seeing your opponent need to drop back, stopping a team being able to press you, locking them in, the feeling that the ball is ours, I would get a physical feeling of joy. And that's a nice little quote. It kind of sums up the way he sees football. You know, he certainly believes that you have to have the ball for the majority of the game. So it kind of tells you that he's a possession-based guy. He's not overly pragmatic in the sense that we let teams come onto us, we nick the ball and go back. You know, that tells you there he wants teams with the ball. And if he's good at working with youngsters, hopefully that's something that he can instill in them, which will help them in the future with their development styles when they come through to the first team squad. And hopefully that can rub off with the first team players. Look, at the end of the day, when we sign Nuno, I think the problems in the early stages when he left Wolves, the reason why we didn't go for him is because of his not overly pragmatic style, but that's what he'd become in that last season. Look, he's an adaptive manager, but I think the reservations would have been the fact that he's not known for his all-out attacking football. There is some pragmatism behind it. So I think part of the talks would be that you have to adapt the way you play to be slightly more attacking and less pragmatic. And they must have come to that conclusion and agreement. Otherwise, we wouldn't see this in place now. And with coaches like Ian behind him, I can just see them flourishing, because it seems like the Spurs way might be a better fit for Ian. And as they work as kind of a duo, it's only going to benefit us in the long run. Now, other coaches that he's brought in, we have Rui Barbosa, he's the goalkeeping coach, and Antonio Diaz, he's going to be the fitness coach. Now, both of them have been with Nuno at a number of his former clubs, which means Ryan Mason, who was our interim manager after Jose was let go, he is stepping back in his previous role in the academy as head of player development. I think some people thought that he might end up in the first team coaching staff. Certainly warranted it, but we have to remember, like, Nuno's come in, he's worked with certain people and trusts them. He needs his staff around him for things to work. You can't just force staff on people and expect it to fit. So, you know, Ryan's had his experience. It was a great experience. He's gone back into his previous role, but that doesn't mean there won't be development for the future where maybe Nuno brings him into his coaching staff, or we could see Ryan leave like Scotty Parker did and has gone on to, you know, start a successful career in management. So I wish him all the best. And also, Lesley King, who, look, a lot of people are saying, oh, defence was woeful. Lesley King obviously isn't a good coach. Lesley King does not have all his coaching badges. He's currently working towards them. So last season was kind of like an eye-opener for him to learn from somebody like Jose Mourinho, learn from the other coaches and get involved. So look, he was never really a massive influence in that sense. I think there would have been conversations that he had with people like Joe Rodon and Japhet Tanganga to try and help them come through. But he wouldn't have been involved too much in terms of taking control of the defensive sessions. He would have been helping set up sessions and learning from the other defensive coaches. So look, I don't know whether King has decided that he now doesn't want to go down the coaching route, but he's stepping back into his role as club ambassador, so he's going to be working, you know, promote the club, give the club a good name, working with the media, working with the public, certainly, and he enjoyed that role before and he did very well. I should imagine he's probably still going to do coaching badges whilst this goes on, but he's not going to be around pitch side for now. So they're the changes, they're the people in. Look, it's a setup that Nuno's very familiar with, people that he's worked with before, people that he trusts, and by the sounds of it, they all trust each other. Like, Ian speaks very well of Nuno and the other members of the coaching team. So moving forward, I think it's, as I said in the last video, is it underwhelming? A little bit, but again, no disrespect to Nuno. It's just the fact that we were linked with so many other managers of a higher caliber, but when you look at it realistically from where we are as a club now, it makes sense and it could be a great move. Potentially could work really well. And as you will see in the next video, when we start talking about players we're linked with, it could be a match made in heaven if he can get them playing the right way and gets the guys in that he really wants. So that's it for that video. A nice short 10-minute one just talking about that. So as I said at the beginning, if you haven't done so already, smash the subscribe button. Turn on the notifications if you want so you get notified when the next video goes live. But yeah, massive thank you to everyone that supported the channel so far. Really appreciate it. Take care, guys. And as always, come on you Spurs. And see you in the next video in 5 minutes.